would argue that most brands fail before they even launch. And it's not because of bad design, bad timing, or a bad market. It's because they were built backwards. Every brand starts with a great idea. You obsess over your logo and colors for weeks. What some of you are missing is this: a logo, a color palette, and a website are not a brand. That's because a brand is the full experience that someone has with your business. It's the reason why they keep coming back to you and then go and tell other people about you. And that comes from strategy, not from design alone. I wrote an entire ebook on this called Build Your Brand, and this video is going to be a walkthrough of the framework inside of it. We're going to cover the key steps, but if you want the full picture, the worksheets, the reflection prompts, every detail, the ebook has all of it. And before we get into it, if you want to start right now, I have a free downloadable called the Brand Strategy Foundation Template. It covers your brand purpose, your target audience, your positioning, and your brand voice. It's the starting point to a strategy. Link is in the description. Grab it now. Let's get into it. Chapter 1, Brand Strategy, the blueprint. Before a single visual element, tagline, or social graphic is created, you need a brand strategy. And no, I'm not talking about a mood board. That's not a strategy, and definitely not a vibe. But what I mean is a documented and intentional roadmap that guides every decision that your brand makes. There are 5 core elements to a brand strategy. Number 1, purpose. Why your brand exists beyond making money, because obviously that's what we're all here to do. If your brand disappeared tomorrow, what would be missing? If the answer is not much, then your brand purpose needs more work. Number 2, vision. This is where you're going, the future state that your brand is working toward. Number 3, mission. What you're doing right now to get there. The vision is the destination and the mission is the vehicle. Number 4, values. The principles that guide every decision that you make. Keep this between 3 to 5. Any more than that and they stop meaning anything. Number 5, positioning. Your specific defensible place in the market. Here's the formula. We help specific audience achieve specific outcome through your unique approach. If that sentence could describe 5 other brands in your space, it's not specific enough. Go back and get more specific. Now remember this, strategy comes first. Always. If you skip it, everything else you build is just decor and vibes. Chapter 2, your brand story. As human beings, we don't connect to businesses directly. We connect to the stories told by these businesses and the people behind them. That's what your brand story does. It creates that connection with your audience. And most brands either skip this or do it entirely wrong. That's because your brand story is not a resume. It's not a list of achievements, and it's not vague inspiration like, I love helping people. A strong story brand has 3 layers. Number 1, origin. Why your brand was created. What gap did you notice in the market? What frustrated you? What personal experience drove you to build something? It doesn't have to be dramatic or life-changing. It just has to be true. Number 2, transformation. What changed? The turning point, the pivot, the thing you decided to stand for. Every compelling story has a shift. Number 3, mission. How your story connects to your audience's story. You went through something and you learned something from that. Now you're here to help other people get through it, get to the other side of it, or skip going through it altogether. The best brand stories don't start with success. They start with a problem, a gap, a frustration. That's where the real connection happens. Chapter 3, brand pillars versus content pillars. This is one of the most confused concepts in branding, and the confusion wastes a lot of people's time. So let's clear it up. Brand pillars and content pillars are related, but they are not the same thing. Brand pillars are who you are, the core themes and beliefs that your brand stands for at the foundational level. They don't change based on what's performing well content-wise. They're the non-negotiable truths that your brand is built on. Keep this, again, 3 to 5 maximum. Content pillars, on the other hand, are what you talk about, the recurring topic categories that you create your content around. They are how your brand pillars show up in execution, translated into subjects and formats that serve your audience. Stick to about 4 to 6 of these. And here's the relationship between the two. Every content pillar should connect back to a brand pillar, because content pillars are your brand pillars in action. Are you still with me? If your content doesn't connect to what your brand actually stands for, it might perform fine, but it's not building your brand. It's just filling a feed. Chapter 4, visual identity. All right. This is the part that everybody wants to start with. And yes, it does matter enormously, but only after you've built your strategy. Because when you build your strategy first, your visual choices become obvious. Your visual identity is a system of elements that communicate who you are without saying a word. The key pieces are your logo system, not just one version, but a primary logo, secondary version, and a submark for small spaces. Your color palette, primary, secondary, neutral, and accent colors, all documented with the exact hex codes or even the Pantone colors if you want to go that route. Typography. You'll need a heading font, a body font, and an optional accent font. Stick to 2 to 3 fonts. No more than that. Your photography and imagery style, the mood, the tone, the color treatment, and your graphic elements, the patterns, shapes, and textures that round out your visual world. Here's what you should try. Your logo should work in black and white before it works in color. If it only looks good in color, it is not a strong enough mark. Chapter 5, verbal identity. This is what most brands get completely wrong. They put all their energy into how they look, but nothing into how they sound. Then they wonder why their content doesn't connect with their audience. Your verbal identity, the way that your brand uses language, is just as important as your visual identity. It all starts with your brand voice, your personality. It is consistent and does not change. And then your tone, which does shift based on the context. It's the same voice, but different energy depending on the moment. Just like you would not talk to your coworker the same way that you would talk to your sister or brother or mom, uncle, aunt, whatever. You get the point. Document your voice with 3 to 4 characteristics. For each one, write what it sounds like and what it does not sound like, because both matter. From there, you need to build your messaging framework. This is your brand promise, your key messages, your audience's pain points, and the desired outcomes. This is the foundation everything else is written from. And last, know your word list. The words that you always use and the words that you don't use. Both of these lists tell your audience something about who you are. Chapter 6, brand experience. Your audience doesn't experience your brand in a controlled environment. They experience it in fragments like a social post, a website visit, an email, maybe even a DM response. And at every single one of those touch points, they're building an impression on your brand. Every touch point either reinforces who you are or contradicts it. There is no neutral here. Map your touch points across the full customer journey. How people discover you, how they evaluate you, how they buy from you, how they experience working with you, and how they advocate for you afterwards, or if they don't. Then audit your brand as if you're a stranger experiencing it for the first time. Read your website, read your last 10 posts, go through your last few client interactions. Does the experience of working with you match the experience of discovering you? If there's a gap, that's your most important thing to fix. Chapter 7, content strategy. Content is how your brand lives in the world. But content without strategy is just feeding the algorithm. And there's already more than enough baseless content. A content strategy is not a posting schedule. It's a document to plan for how your brand will use content to serve your audience and drive business goals. Every piece of content that you create should connect to at least one of 4 things: your brand pillars, your content pillars, your audience, or your business goals. If it doesn't connect to one of those, then don't make it. Quick breakdown of content types that you should rotate through: educational, inspirational, entertaining, promotional, and community driven. Promotional content should be no more than 20 to 30% of what you put out. If you flip that ratio, you repel the audience that you're trying to attract. And don't try to be everywhere at once. Start with one primary platform and one secondary. Build a real system before you expand to more than that. Doing 2 things well beats doing 5 things poorly every time. Chapter 8, brand guidelines. If you build a brand and don't document it, you're going to build from scratch every time someone touches it. This could be a designer, a contractor, a social media manager. Without a reference point, they're just guessing. Brand guidelines are the document that protects everything you've built. They should cover your brand story and strategy overview, your visual identity rules. It should also include your verbal identity guidelines, your brand experience standard, and templates with approved assets. Build your guidelines now, even if you're the only person touching your brand. Chapter 9, launch planning. A launch is not just an announcement, it's a campaign, a coordinated sequence designed to introduce your brand, build anticipation, and move people to take action. Here are the 3 phases. Phase 1, pre-launch, 4 to 8 weeks out. This is the hype phase. You're not selling yet. You're building an audience that's warm and ready when launch day comes. This is your time to tease your identity, share the why behind what you're building, and most importantly, Start growing your email list. Social media followers are borrowed. Your email list is owned. Build it before launch. Phase 2, launch 1 to 2 weeks out. This is the moment. Publish your brand introduction, show your face, send your launch email sequence, drop content across platforms, and engage with every single message or comment within the first 72 hours. That window sets the tone. Phase 3, post-launch. This is ongoing. Maintain your cadence. Share early wins. Gather feedback. Nurture your email list. Evaluate what worked and adjust. The brands that sustain momentum are the ones who plan for what comes after the launch, not just the launch itself. Chapter 10, consistency and long-term brand building. The hardest part isn't building it, it's maintaining it. Consistency is what separates brands that people remember from brands that people forget, because your audience's trust is built through repetition. Every time they see your brand and it feels familiar and cohesive, the trust gets a little deeper. And every time that something feels off, like a mismatched visual, a caption that doesn't sound like you, or maybe a customer experience that contradicts your brand promise, that trust erodes. You should always be consistent in your visual, voice, and message. Also, don't forget consistency in showing up. A posting schedule you can't sustain is worse than a slower one that you can actually stick to. And every 90 days, sit down and honestly evaluate how things are going. Are your touch points aligned? Is your content reflecting your pillars? What's your audience responding to? Where's the gap between who you say you are and how you're actually showing up? Schedule that review date before you do anything else. That's the framework. Strategy first, execution second, consistency always. If you want to do this in real depth, the worksheets, the reflection prompts, the full breakdown of every element, that's all inside the ebook. This video is simply an overview. The ebook is going to help you actually build this. And if you're not ready for the full thing yet, start with the free Brand Strategy Foundation template. It covers your purpose, your audience, your positioning, and your voice. That link is also in the description. If this was helpful, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. And if you're building a brand right now, drop a comment and tell me where you are in your process. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.